The secondary was a major issue for the Minnesota Vikings last offseason. That's why in free agency they retained Patrick Peterson. They brought over Chandon Sullivan from across the river, as well as signed up Nate Hairston, the slot cornerback. Versatility also has experience with Dantzler. Also in the draft, they hammered that secondary. 3 of the first 5 picks, including 3 in the first 4 rounds. A first-round pick, Cine, the hard-hitting safety out of Georgia. Cornerback Andrew Booth Jr., who could be the steal of the draft, number 42 overall. Also, a Caleb Evans, a lengthy, toolsy player who will be a nice developmental guy for the secondary going forward. But training camp opened up on Wednesday, first practice, and looking at the depth charts, it's extremely important. Who's running with the ones? How's player XYZ looking? Well, for practice 1, day 1, this is how they stacked up. So first team defense, round the outside, was Patrick Peterson, and as well as third-year cornerback Camryn Dantzler. Also in the slot was a free agent cornerback Chandon Sullivan, plus a free safety Camryn Bynum. That's right. The draft pick last year out of Cal, played cornerback at Cal. They converted him to safety, filled in very nicely for Harrison Smith when he missed a couple games last season. And then, of course, strong safety Harrison Smith. Should be future Hall of Famer. Number 22 working things. So that's who is running with the first team defense to start things out in training camp. Now, at the beginning of training camp, just like the offseason work, mandatory minicamp and OTAs, ties and even not ties, they go to the veterans. Like you're going to have veterans run the ones, and the rookies have to earn their stripes, as it were, moving up from the second team and sometimes even the third or fourth team. So you had the top 2 rookies running with the 2s right away. Cine working with the backup safeties, as well as Andrew Booth Jr., second team cornerback, mainly on the outside. Also, he did make the play of the day on Wednesday, getting that interception, undercutting Justin Jefferson. No big deal. NBD. No big deal. So they're going to play with these lineups for sure, because I think that you will find days when Cine will be with the ones instead of Camryn Bynum. And there'll be days when Andrew Booth Jr. is in for Camryn Dantzler with the ones. And it's no aspersion on Bynum and Dantzler. They just want to work out with different combinations, because in the season ish happens, right? And you want to run best against best. You want to see how guys react. You want to see how chemistry works with different personnel groupings. Fully understand that, right? And eventually down the line, things are going to stratify, especially once you get into the dog days of training camp, once you get into the preseason games, once you get into the joint practice with the Niners. Then you're going to see some of the cream rising to the top and some of these guys taking over. So if Booth Jr. as well as Cine, if they do have the talent to start right away out of the gate, I think that will be found. I think that Donatell, Kevin O'Connell, and company will make that smart decision. But either way, I'm really happy, because the Vikings secondary was just god-awful last season, right? So it is good that they have depth in these spots, especially at the cornerback position, where it was probably the weakest position group heading into the offseason, but through free agency and the draft, it is one of the more intriguing, because they brought back Peterson, who still has a little bit of gas left in the tank. I think that Booth Jr. and Caleb Evans both have the talent to be starters down the line for the Vikings. Booth Jr. maybe right out of the gate. And also, I like Harrison's versatility, plus his familiarity with the scheme. Plus, I won't give up on Harrison Hand or Chris Boyd or Perry Nickerson or Ty Smith, Steve Perry. That's right, man. But either way, I'm excited to see how these guys are going to stack up. And I think eventually the plan this year should be working 3 safeties in. And Donatell and O'Connell have already talked about that. Even if and when Cine ends up in the starting lineup, Camryn Bynum will still have a role as the third safety, big nickel, working in the slot against big-bodied slot receivers or tight ends, or rotating things around. Some sub-packages where Cine or Harrison Smith lines up as a de facto linebacker makes a lot of sense as well. Plus, I mean, I like Patrick Peterson. I love him, man. I do, but the future. Could it be Camryn Dantzler and Andrew Booth Jr., 2 very lengthy, very physical, very heady cornerbacks on the outside? I would love to see it. I would. And if it's a spot where Peterson would be better served as a rotational guy, and Andrew Booth Jr. is out there getting quite a few more snaps, I'll take it. We'll certainly take it, man, because you want to get your best out there, and getting Booth Jr. some experience. If he's too good to keep off the field, that's an absolutely great problem to have. So I'm fired up to see what Durante Jones and Ed Dantzler are going to do with this defense, especially that secondary. But that's how they stacked up day one. We'll see how things shift as we get into the dog days of training camp. But your thoughts are thoughts. Vikings first team secondary lining up day one of training camp. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skull Production Value.